Here we go with lesson 5 on solving inequalities with variables on both sides. This is going to be a very short lesson once again. All of the same rules apply to solving inequalities that apply to solving equations. The one little thing that's different is that when we divide by a negative number or multiply by a negative number, we need to make sure we flip the direction of the inequality. Now, I've showed you in class there's also other ways to not have to ever divide by a negative number, and we're going to try to do that as much as we can when we solve inequalities with variables on both sides. Let's take a look at the inequality on the left. We have 6n minus 1 is greater than 3n plus 8. If you remember from equations, what we wanted to try and do is get the variables all on one side. We also want to get the constants all on one side away from the variables. So first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to add 1 to both sides. That leaves me with just 6n is greater than 3n, 8 plus 1 is 9. The next thing I want to do is subtract 3n from both sides. And 6n's minus 3n's leaves me with 3n's are greater than 9. Now I'm going to divide both sides by 3. And we want to be asking ourselves at this point, since I'm dividing, do I need to flip or change the direction of the inequality? The answer is no. I'm dividing by a positive number, so I do not need to change the direction of the inequality. This leaves me with n is greater than 9 divided by 3, which is 3. If I put this on a number line, remember the 3 essential questions you need to be asking yourself is, where does my dot go? What type of dot do I have? And which way do I need to shade? So my dot goes at 3 because there's the 3. I look at the inequality symbol, that tells me it's an open dot. So I'm going to put an open dot at 3. And then I need to shade one direction or the other. And how do I know? Well, I try a number. Let me pick the number 0. Let me see. Is 0 greater than 3? No, it's not. So I do not want to shade towards 0. I want to shade the other direction, that way. I want everything greater than 3. Let's look at the next one. I have 3b plus 12 is greater than 27 minus 2b. Let's say, for example, I moved the 3b from the left side of this inequality to the right side. So let's say I start and I say this, negative minus 3b, let's subtract 3b from both sides. Remember, you can always draw a line straight down like this to know that you're doing it to both sides. Well, that leaves me with just 12 on the left side is greater than 27 minus 2b, and another minus 3b is minus 5b. So now I'd want to get the numbers, the constants, all on the left side. So let me subtract 27. So 12 minus 27 is going to be negative 15. Negative 15 is greater than negative 5b. Alright, so now I need to divide. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 5. And this is where I need to be asking myself, when I'm dividing, did I divide by a negative number? The answer is yes. So I'm going to need to change the direction of my inequality. Negative 5 divided by negative 5b divided by negative 5 leaves me with just b. Negative 15 divided by negative 5. Remember, a negative divided by a negative is a positive, and that's going to be a positive 3. So 3 is less than b. Or I can read it this way. b is greater than 3. So let's put this on a number line. I'm going to take and put my number in the middle, my solution where the dot's most likely going to go in the middle. I'm going to set up my number line like that. I ask myself the 3 questions. Where does my dot go? It goes at the number 3. What type of dot? By looking at the inequality, it will be an open dot at 3. Now remember, we don't go by which way the inequality is pointing. We're not just going to shade to the left because this is pointing to the left. We always just want to pick a number. Again, let's try picking 1. Is 3 less than 1? No, that's not true. So I do not want to shade towards the number 1. I want to shade towards the other direction, this way. And that's all you have to do. So again, these are very much like what we've been doing. We want to get the variable on one side by itself and get the constants on the other side by themselves. And then we just solve and graph how we normally would. All right, I will see you all next class.